everyone, it's Bob Perkins with AAISP's Inside Sales Studio. I'm actually on the road. It's August 1st and I'm in upstate New York in Rochester. But we have a special interview today to bring to you. I'm with Chris Forman. He's the founder and CEO of Appcast, which has everything to do about recruiting and hiring. And I know that's at the top, a very hot topic. Chris, welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
You know, this topic of hiring recruiting is a huge challenge. Inside sales, sales in general is growing at such fast rates. Our leaders, when we surveyed them, in fact, the last top challenges report that we did last year had hiring and recruiting in the top 3 challenges, and it's been that way for years. Chris, we're going to sort of pick your brain today a little bit and learn from you. You have a ton of experience in recruiting and hiring. Could you just briefly share your background with the viewers?
Yeah, sure, Bob. Appreciate it. 47 years old. I've spent almost my entire professional career building companies that use technology to help great companies hire great people. Appcast is my 4th company. We sold a couple of them and we got 2 in the market. All told, if you kind of add the impact of all the technologies that the team here has built over the years, we've helped hire over 2 million Americans into jobs. A good chunk of those happen to be in sales. My first company was acquired by the largest recruitment outsourcing firm in the U.S., and a major chunk of their business happened to be pharmaceutical sales, inside sales, field sales. And so, I think quite a bit of my gray hair, which I like to think is premature, has come from over the years trying to figure out how to go hire quota-busting sales folks.
Great. Well, look, it's great to have you today, and I think we're going to start out with a kind of a state of the industry with regard to recruiting and hiring. I know it's a big challenge, and you've been around for so long. Can you share with the viewers what you feel today's state of the industry is around recruiting and hiring, maybe some of the changes you've seen over the past few years?
Yeah, you bet. And, I don't think that this is going to come as news to any of your members based on the survey results that you just shared. But, to use probably a trite phrase that is probably been dragged out of the barn too many times, we're in the middle of a war for talent. The best companies in a knowledge-based economy understand that the way to succeed is to hire and retain the best folks. And the reality is that there's not enough of them. And so it's a massive battle to kind of make sure that you've got the right people in your organization that can drive the business results that you're looking for. Yeah. Beyond that, there's also, certain jobs within the U.S. marketplace where there's just a structural supply and demand imbalance. When people think about the war for talent, and you read the Wall Street Journal or you read the New York Times, more often than not, the discussion leads to, software engineers that wear, plaid shirts and shorts and flip-flops to work 12 months a year. And that's a fun story to write, but it's not actually true. Yes, there's a supply and demand imbalance for tech workers, but if you look at scale, if you look at the number of people that are being impacted, there are 2 primary areas where, there's just this gap between what companies want and need and what the market can deliver. The first one, interestingly, is trucking. Okay. If I drove 7 buses of truck drivers up to any trucking company in America, I could get them all hired. I mean, literally, the questions are starting to change from, have you ever been arrested to, have you been arrested recently? I mean, that's how much they really need people to kind of drive trucks. And the second one is sales. Indeed.com, which is, depending on how you slice and dice the, kind of the job board marketplace, is the largest job board in the United States. And they've got some really great data scientists on board and actually economists. And they make available publicly some really interesting kind of macroeconomic data. And since 2014, June is the highest demand month for sales professionals in the United States, as measured by the number of postings in the U.S., deduplicated. So these are all normalized real jobs in the U.S. While at the same time, since 2014, June 2017 represents the smallest job seeker base available for sales jobs. And what they did was they looked at the number of people that are actually searching for sales positions.
Yeah.
And it's at the smallest rate that it's been since 2014, and the job postings are at the highest rate. So, whenever you have that type of dichotomy, it just means hiring managers' jobs, recruiters' jobs are just getting more difficult.
Yeah, so we feel that that's interesting about June. I'm not sure if it coincides with the fiscal year or what, but in inside sales, all the leaders are saying, it's got so tough that now they're hiring more and more right out of college because they can, right? That's the supply. Gone are the days of being able to cherry pick your very top producing reps. It's just tougher. So let's switch gears a bit, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas about some tips, some best practices, some tips that you can share with the hiring managers that are watching this that maybe can help them a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I've got a couple things that are more kind of common sense. Sometimes you just need somebody to grab your arm and read your watch and tell you what time it is.
Yeah.
So the first one is that in every single source of hire survey that's been done in the last decade, the number one source of hire for almost any position is employee referral. And I think that that's some common sense things that a lot of people understand, especially in the sales world. The idea of referrals is commonplace. Right. What may be lost is two nuances to that. The first one is that if you dig deeper into the data, you find that not only is it the number one source of hire, but if you look at 1-year performance reviews, candidates that were sourced through employee referral on average have a 15% higher year one performance review ranking than all other sources. So, it's not just that referrals help you get hires. It gets you hires that actually perform, and especially in sales, that's material.
Yeah.
The second part of it is and this is something that we often think that referrals, they're labeled as employee referrals. Right. But if you limit it to employee referrals, what ends up happening is you cut off a massive amount of your referral base. And actually the data shows that as long as someone that you have a connection with refers a candidate into your recruiting funnel, you get the same benefits as if it was employee referral.
Interesting.
So there's a kind of a great story about one of the rock stars in talent acquisition in corporate America went to a regional bank, and he looked at all the data and found that they were underperforming in their employee referral program, and so he did kind of the blocking and tackling that actually gets that going. But then he wanted to try something new. And so this is a little edgy.
Yeah.
But it worked. So every time one of his recruiters would go to make an offer for any position at the bank, they'd say, "We're so excited to have you. We have an offer right here for you. I'm going to make sure that this offer is something that is going to make you happy. Yeah. If you accept this offer, though, there's one condition. You have to give us the name of 3 people that you think we should talk to. Because we want more people like you, and we think that you're great. Yeah. And we want to challenge you to bring those people with you as a housewarming present for us. And so here's the remarkable thing. It's edgy. Basically it's a shakedown saying, I'm going to give you a job, but you got to give me my referrals. Yeah. So they monitored this. Yeah. And what they found was that those referrals from those job seekers were the highest closing referrals that they had in the organization, higher than employees. And they also found that their first year performance rated as good as employee referrals.
Yeah.
And so good salespeople know other good salespeople.
Yeah.
And probably one of the highest points of passion that someone can have in most organizations, unless, you're joining an organization that is just kick butt in every possible way, is the day they get an offer, right? I mean, they're excited. They're ready to go. So the idea of tapping that passion is incredible.
Listen, I think I've never heard that one before. And you call it a shakedown, but excuse me, realistically, they're just asking for a little assistance when that person, who wouldn't want to tell their network, their friends about this great company that they got a great offer that wants people like them. Fantastic. I love that. That's viewers out there. That's a fantastic tip. So we're gonna sort of wrap things up here in just a minute, Chris. I'd like to ask sort of a one final question. Is there any things you have seen hiring managers or recruiters do over the years that you say, boy, that's not good. That's a mistake, or you ought to try to avoid those type of things? Anything that comes to mind at all?
Yeah, two things. Number one is hiring the resume, not the person. Again, I joke about my gray hair coming from trying to hire salespeople. It actually comes from making crappy hires where I look at the resume and go, oh man, this person has everything. I mean, they worked at the companies I want. They've got the velocity that I want, everything. And then I talk to them, and there's the hairs that go up on the back of my neck. I'm like, nah, they couldn't be as successful as this resume says. And every single time it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Every single time it's a mistake. And, the second thing is, and this is hard when you're under a tremendous amount of pressure to fill requisitions.
Yep.
There is no sub for talking a long time. And so this is pretty simple.
Yeah.
Talk to them 3 times.
Yeah. I love it.
And, people can fake who they are and what they want to be for an hour.
Yeah.
It becomes a little bit harder an hour or 2 if it's separated by a few days.
Yep.
By the 3rd time, you're getting who they are. They become comfortable, and you have the crucible of trying to make a decision is relaxed. And the best hires always come from folks that you've had the opportunity to speak to serially, in depth, over time.
Yeah, I like that idea of you get comfortable, even if, one of the meetings is you go out for a lunch or something, right? A little more casual, you get to see the real person. Those are great tips. You gave the viewers 3 great things today. One about that referral idea when hiring. I love that. And then a couple things to avoid. Don't hire the resume, and then take your time, vet it out. Fantastic. Chris, we really appreciate you being on today. As we end here, though, I'd like to hear just a little bit more about Appcast. So if you could share your viewers what Appcast does, and then also how to get in touch with you if they want to contact you as well.
Sure, appreciate it. So when employer referrals and referrals in general only get you so far, and at some point most organizations of scale recognize that they need to go advertise and cast a wide net to bring talent into the organization. Appcast we were founded in 2014, and we've developed some technology that has been massively adopted in the corporate recruiting space. We've got 600 paying clients in just a few short years. Because what Appcast does is it allows hiring managers and recruiters to basically put a bid, what they're willing to pay for a completed application, to their desk. Rather than paying for a posting or for a click, you say, I'm looking for salespeople and I'm willing to spend $15, for each apply that you drive me. And what our software does is it takes your bid and it takes your jobs, it analyzes them, it uses a lot of artificial intelligence and figures out where those people live, work, and play on the internet. Yeah. And puts the ad right in front of them at the right time, whether they're on social media, whether they're reading the news, whether they're on a job site, whether they are just, kind of searching on Google. And, the impact is that right now the technology that Appcast has built is on track to drive 300 million job applications this year.
Oh.
And so whether you're a big company like Lyft or Uber looking for drivers, or your Target looking for developers, or your financial services sales folks, or software hiring managers looking to hire sales folks, whether you're a big company or small company, Appcast allows folks to do that more efficiently.
That's great, and I'm sure I remember doing a lot of that manually over the years. My goodness, technology can really improve the process. So, Chris, last thing is, what's the best way for the viewers to get in touch with you if they want to have a good conversation around this topic of hiring and recruiting?
So if they want to learn about Appcast, it's pretty easy. Go to www.appcast.io, appcast.io. And for me, I'm as you can tell, a recruiting geek. So you can reach me at chris.forman, Forman, at appcast.io.
Fantastic. Well, look, I really appreciate you sharing those ideas, really cool ideas, by the way, and tips. So everyone, thanks for joining us on AISP's Inside Sales Studio. Hope this episode helped. Give us some feedback. Let us know how your hiring and recruiting challenges are going, and successes as well. Chris, thanks again for joining us today. Everyone, bye-bye and good selling.
Thanks, Bob. Go Red Sox.
He said that because I have a Yankees cup. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.